Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com here with a Waking Flames Update 31 Magcrow build called Lethal Weapon, and it is just that. This build focuses on high AoE burst, group utility, and just absolutely nuking down massive groups. So you're going to want to pick this up if you're looking for something kind of like the new Bomber in the Elder Scrolls Online. Let me show you what I've come up with. Thanks for watching. So first things first, should you play this build? Simply put, the Magic Necro stands on the mountain of high AoE burst right now. The playstyle is quite different than I usually play, as you need to be patient, build up your ult, and drop a few skills in a short window. It requires a lot of timing. However, if you do this and you practice it, it will be the biggest AoE nuke possible in ESO right now. So the pros are the most AoE burst possible. It does have incredible group utility, great self and group healing. The cons are it requires a high skill cap and timing, and it's not great for solo play. So if the pros outweigh the cons, let me show you what I created. And let's talk about the gear first. So I have a couple different gear loadouts. I'm going to start with the base and what I use for this footage. This is ideal for solo or small group play. Something without a pocket healer, meaning you don't have someone coming around spamming Breath of Life on you all the time, and you need to survive independently of healer. You have to start there, and then you can work towards the more advanced. So we're going to run a two-piece Monster Helm Balrogs. This can be found in March of Sacrifice. The shoulder can be bought on the vendor. What it's going to do, after you drop ultimate, it's going to give you a massive amount of physical spell pen along with spell damage. Remember that Balrogs is going to reward you for the amounts of ultimate use. So if your ultimate costs 75, but you save up to 500, it's going to hit that much harder. So the goal is to be patient and stack it all the way up to 500 if you can for a big, massive nuke. And then the mother of five pieces right now, Dark Convergence. People are going to love or hate me for this, but it's obtained via Rewards of the Worthy, earning AP. This can be done in Cyrodiil or Battlegrounds. However you earn AP, this will be in your Rewards of the Worthy, or you can buy it on Traders. It's just a disgustingly powerful set. It does a whole bunch of things, but what it's going to do is suck in enemies essentially and blow up a couple different times. So you're trying to time your burst window down, leaving AoE ground effects on the ground, Dark Convergence specifically. You pair Dark Convergence with your Colossus and your Boneyard in a proxy deck or whatever you else want to throw, and it's such a short window that basically people can't react. Dark Convergence can be countered by blocking and some other things, but a lot of people don't know this, and you can just absolutely nuke them inside of what I call the purple grapefruit. In case this gets nerfed in the future, feel free to pick up a set of mechanical acuity which can be crafted. This will still hit very, very strong without Dark Convergence and will still be a fantastic build, assuming Dark Convergence will get toned down in the future. Now, Daedric Trickery is what I'm going to run on my back bar. Daedric Trickery is a craftable set in Morrowind. When you deal damage, it's going to gain 1 of 5 major buffs. All of them are fantastic and useful in defensive situations. The reason I use this is because I'm not playing with the pocket healer 99% of the time. So this gives me the overall best survivability on my back bar while maintaining high mobility and burst potential. If you're playing a no-proc PvP, you could always use something like Mark of Pariah or Buffer of Swift gear set. So those are 2 flex options. And I'll show you a more advanced setup where you can use Vicious Death along with Dark Convergence for a full all-out nuke. Now I'm going to go with a mythic Death Dealer's Fate here. So this is going to give you stacks while you're in combat, up to 30 stacks, and essentially at 30 stacks after about a minute, you get 2,680 magic, stamina, and health. This is going to add a lot of damage and make you a lot more survivable. It's perfect for long-term fights. And a couple different options to flex this out. You can flex in Malakast for a little bit more burst damage on your Dark Convergence. You can flex in Wild Hunt to be a little faster, or you can flex in another body piece and or a weapon and drop the Mythic if you don't have Mythics or don't like getting them. But Death Dealer's Fate and Blackwood, it's just an incredible all-around set it and forget it Mythic I love. And so the overall gear, I run about 4 heavy, I would recommend. You could run either 3 light or 2 light and 1 medium. I go with reinforced heavy on my chest, prismatic glyphs on the heavy pieces, so that's head, chest, and legs, along with max magic on the rest. And then impenetrate is just a good staple if you don't know what else to do, or well fitted if you like to dodge roll a lot. You're going to go with a lightning staff on your front bar, Dark Convergence, because of the AoE benefit it gives you. Sharpen trait with a spell damage, enchant, or escapist poisons. Back bar, Daedric Trickery Restoration Staff. I like powered for the burst heal along with spell damage enchant. Your jewelry is all going to be Harmony if you can do it, along with spell damage, and go with the Atronach Mundus Stone for recovery. So that's the base loadout, and you can go with a full bomber loadout. This is ideal if you're playing in a group and you have a pocket healer, something that can actually give you protection and you're not self-reliant on that. So what you're going to do is put Vicious Death on your front bar. This is obtained via Cyrodiil home base elite gear vendors. So Vicious Death Lightning Staff on your front bar, and the alternate set is going to be Dark Convergence on your back bar. You're going to switch out one skill on your back bar, Illustrious Healing or Healing Springs, place that down to proc Dark Convergence, bar swap, and then go in for your full nuke, and it'll basically AoE destroy everything. But you're going to lack a lot of survivability, so it's just your choice depending on the context you're playing. So now we got the gear, it's going to center around Dark Convergence and the AoE Absolute Nuke. So let's go on our front bar Lightning Staff and explain how this works. Front bar is going to have one massive nuke, Skulking Blast Bones. It's insane single target and AoE damage, and it needs to be cupped up most of the time. You're definitely going to want to cast this prior to launching your nuke. It launches at about 2.5 seconds, but in reality has to travel, so it's about 3.5 depending on the range of the target. Keep this up at all times. Next is Degeneration. This is a moderate damage over time that gives us the major sorcery buff. Essentially, you can flex this out if you're using something like Spell Power Potion or Stealth Detect potions and you want an extra bar slot. If I were to flex this out and I was going to play in a group with pocket healers, I would go with Proximity Debt, Alliance War, Assault skill line. You can pre-buff this on your front bar. After 8 seconds it's going to explode. The more people around, the better. It's going to require a lot of timing, but if you practice this with all your other nukes can absolutely wipe massive outnumbered groups. The third ability up is Radiant Mage Light. Essentially it's going to give you spell crit on your front bar. You're not going to get the extra max mag with the inner light, but it's going to prevent you from getting ganked a lot, and it's a great counter to folks using stealth. Next ability up is going to be our main spammable Crushing Shock from the Weapon Destruction Staff skill line. It's a main spammable range and it acts as an interrupt. It's very, very nice over the skull because it does provide some group utility with that range interrupt. However, you can flex this out again if you're playing in group for Elemental Ring. This is also in the Destruction Staff skill line. It's an AoE spammable with the Lightning Staff that increases damage based on numbers of enemies hit. So it pairs well with exactly what we're trying to do. Fight outnumbered, get everyone to clump up, and Proxy Debt, Elemental Ring, absolutely nuke. Next ability up is Avid Boneyard. So this is going to put an AoE circle on the ground. It's going to do damage over time. It's going to consume a corpse on cast, deal 50% more damage. So you're going to get a corpse for using your Skulking Blast Bones, and you're going to consume it with Boneyard. You or an ally stand in the graveyard and can activate the graveyard synergy, meaning you can activate it. This is why we're using Harmony on our jewelry. You're going to cast it on top of yourself as people dogpile you. Dark Convergence is going to suck them in right on top of you. And then you're going to click it simultaneously as the Dark Convergence hits, doing a lot of damage in a little bit of time. And then our ultimate is Colossus. This is Insane Burst, and it's massive 12-meter AoE with major vulnerability. So it's a short burst window, and you're going to try to lay this down first, then throw in your Boneyard. It's going to suck them all in while the Colossus is hitting them, debuffing them, and then the Dark Conversion is going to stun them so they can't counter it. Boom, you're going to hit your Boneyard synergy. It's going to be see you later. I'm sorry, it just works. Back bar is for survivability. So we have our armor buff. Pretty simple stuff here. You're going to cast this, keep it up at all times. It's going to reduce some other Necro abilities. Spirit Guardian, this is another one that's going to heal, boost our sustain, and create corpses along with make us more tanky. Race Against Time, it's really a mobility tool, but you can pre-cast this in your combo on your back bar to get increased crit damage, because we do have some crit if we're not using Malakath. Rapid Regen, this is self and small group survivability, so great simple heal over time. And Resistance Flesh, this is going to be a powerful burst heal for yourself in a group, though you do have to aim it, so it's not just like a Templar's Breath of Life, but consider this your burst heal that applies to you and others in the group. And then you have a couple different ultimate choices for survivability. I like Life Giver because it's insane group utility for you and others, or you can slot Temporal Guardian for reduced 5% damage on your back bar, though I don't cast that too much. And let's get to the combo here, and effectively the combo is buff offensively, so use Spell Power Potions or Degeneration on your front bar, and Proxy if you're playing in a group. And then you're going to buff defensively using your Armor, Spirit, then pop Race Against Time for increased crit and flip over to your front bar. Now you're going to cast Blast Bones and close the distance to your target. Remember, it's going to be on top of you, and you want them to dogpile you. Now, back to back, cast Colossus first, Boneyard, wait a split second, and then pop your Boneyard synergy as Dark Convergence pulls enemies in, Blast Bones hit all at once. If you do this right with a large group, it's too much damage for anyone to counter. So if they don't block the Dark Convergence, it's over. And if you're playing in large groups, spam Elemental Ring or Crushing Shock to finish off single target or group players. Let's get to the champion points here, and my philosophy is survival versus damage. And yes, even on this build. So you can feel free to slot things in and out, depending if you want more damage, but this thing has a lot of damage. So let's go to the Warfare Blue Tree. I take 3 defensive slottables here: Duelist Rebuff, Ironclad, Unassailable, with 1 Master at Arms offensive. If I were you and I wanted more AoE damage, I would swap one of the defensive ones out for Biting Aura. That's going to increase your AoE damage. And then I'm going to go to the Fitness Tree, which is the red, and I take a couple of different ones. So Sustain by Suffering, increase your resource sustain when you're under negative effects. Pain's Refuge, make you more tanky. And then 2 flexible ones depending on your playstyle. I like Celerity because it's going to increase my movement speed by 10%, allowing me, since I don't have a gap closer, to hit Race Against Time and rush ahead right to the spot I want to bomb on. And then Expert Evasion. I do dodge roll a lot, even on magic builds, so this keeps me alive a lot more than maybe a little bit of extra armor or a little bit of extra health. But depending on your playstyle, swap those in and out. In the miscellaneouses of the build, consumables, I go with the Smoked Bear Haunch. So this is going to get increased max health, health recovery, stam recovery, and magicka recovery. So I need a lot of recovery from this, especially if I'm using stamina to dodge roll. You can go with the gold Clockwork Citrus Fillet if you want, but I like the extra max stats. So with Death Dealer's Fate fully optimized, it should be right around 40,000 health with this, allowing me to be very tanky and still do a lot of damage. Though you're playing with pocket healers in a group, you want to scale up that max mag to do even more damage. So potions, we're going to run the simple usual suspects here: Tri Potions or Essence of Detection, which is going to give you spell power depending on your playstyle, and also keep in some immovabilities. This is really helpful when you're jumping into large groups, because if you get stunned during your burst window, it's over. So immovabilities can come into a pinch. Munda Stone, I typically run the Atronach on this one since I have spell damage enchants on all my jewelry. Atronach is what I go with, and that gives you a lot of magic recovery. Attribute points, I put a lot into health on this character, and so you can do what you want. The less health you have, the more damage you're going to do with magic, but the less time you have to react. I don't stack nearly the armor I used to do for survival. What I stack now is max health, but I recommend at least 32,000 inside of the PvP context that you're doing. Well, gang, that's just a simple build on the Magic Necro. It hits extremely hard, and even if the Dark Convergence sets gets nerfed in the future, you can still do the same thing with Mechanical Acuity. It's not going to have the suck-in per se, but if you're playing in a group, this thing will still work fantastic. It provides some of the most AoE damage in the game, so flex that in and out if in the future if it gets nerfed. This is ideal for someone that wants to play in groups and really flip Cyrodiil maps, Crown and Emperors, big massive keep fight, fighting outnumbered. I was blown away how effective it was. So thanks to Miss Mono and Stan Fay for helping me with this build. I really appreciate their help. Also, special thanks to my Patreons for sponsoring this video, and believe it or not, if you become a Patreon, this really helps me crank out these videos, so seriously consider it if you like this video. Thanks for watching.